Recording. So today we'll be discussing bronchiectasis. Bronchiectasis is basically an abnormal and irreversible dilation of your bronchi and bronchioles. Right. Now I'll repeat again. It is an abnormal and irreversible bronchi and bronchiole dilation, meaning once it is dilated, once the damage has occurred, there is no going back from it. All right. This is developing either as an inflammatory condition or as an infection. In either case, what will happen is inflammation will weaken your bronchial walls. So if I take your bronchial wall like this, let's suppose this is a random bronchi. Okay. Now what will happen is the wall of this bronchi, let me draw it in. The wall of this bronchi, all right, this gets weakened. Now you know this, the wall of your bronchi has an elastic property wherein whenever you are inhaling, they will expand a little bit, and whenever you are expirating, they will expand, and again they'll go back to their normal state, right? They will go in and out, so they are elastic in that sense. Now what is happening in this is, because yeah,
I, I will.
someone's audio is on, they have a doubt. Okay. Now as I was telling, because of extensive inflammatory damage, what will happen is these bronchi or bronchioles will get permanently dilated. All right, how that happens we'll study in bronchiectasis. That is the condition basically. So abnormal dilation of your bronchi and bronchiole, which is irreversible, and that is the basic definition of bronchiectasis. That ectasis means, this part ectasis means dilation or expansion. All right, so now let's get into it. What happens in this is, it can start either as an infection or as an obstruction. How that happens, let's suppose we are starting with an infection. Okay, any infection, any infection of your lung, right? Let's suppose it starts with an infection. You know, infection will be followed immediately by inflammation. Whenever there is infection, there will be inflammation that follows it. All right. Now inflammation, because of inflammation something happens. Now you know that whenever there is inflammation in a particular area, there will be exudate being formed. So let me draw a lung and this on the side so that you can understand. इसको बाजू कर देंगे. Let's say audio once again. Let's say this is your lung, right? And there is what you call any particular pathogen or something that is coming. Let's suppose some pathogen is coming here, and hold on. Right, you have your bronchi and bronchioles and the branches of there, the whole tree goes on, right? So on and so forth. You will have several more branching, and in the end you will have alveoli and acini here, right? So on and so forth. Okay, now whenever there is infection coming in, what will happen is, let's suppose that infection is festering here more in this area. If you can see here, there is occurring what you call, the infection is proliferating. So what will happen here, inflammatory changes will occur. I'll draw inflammatory changes in orange so that you can understand. Okay, let's suppose inflammatory changes are occurring here. Whenever there is inflammatory changes occurring, you know that the nearby blood vessels will get affected, and whenever there is respiratory inflammation in general, exudate is formed. Exudate is what you call plasma with a lot of proteins that will come and vertical get congested in that area. That is exudate basically, right? So what will happen is, from inflammation you will get exudate. This exudate in turn, now what is happening here, यहाँ पर inflammation हुआ. If you can see this bronchi, let me enlarge this bronchi a little bit. Let's suppose I'm enlarging it here. Okay, that same bronchi I'll draw here. Let's suppose this is the bronchus and this is the corresponding alveolus. Okay, now what is happening is, because of inflammatory changes, because of inflammation and all, this fellow will start getting mucus and edema, and all of that will start getting accumulated inside. So what is happening to the bronchus here? Something is happening, no? What is happening?
It will it
It
will
will
be
it will get blocked. Yes, because there is exudate. Now the nearby blood vessels that are present, let me draw blood vessels here. See, this is a area near here which have expanded. So you will have blood vessels running here, you will have, let's do, lymphatics running along, you will have veins, all of that proper supply will be there. Now whenever there is inflammation, exudate material will go out of your blood vessels, and more production of mucus, all of that will, what do you call, ultimately cause obstruction, right? So you are having obstruction here because of this exudate, right? Now this obstruction, in turn, what will happen is, because it is getting obstructed, uh, let me draw that obstruction in black. Let's suppose here there is obstruction now. Okay, blue mein aaya, theek hai. There is obstruction here because of that exudate material being formed. Now you know, if one particular area has nice moisture and it is not getting enough, what do you call, if it is blocked off, your inflammatory cells and your what do you call, immune cells cannot come to that area. In that blocked area, what will happen? If let's suppose I have a nice damp area which is blocked off from circulation, and an area that is not getting inflammatory cells, it is not getting WBCs and all, what will happen in that area? Something will happen, no? If you have dampy areas in your body, what will happen there? Think.
There will be no oxygen supply.
There will be no oxygen supply, yes. See, if I have any particular area in my body that is damp in general, now let's suppose you take a cloth and you damp it out and you put it just like that in a cool area where it cannot dry, what will happen in that cloth? Something will happen, no? Something will grow.
fungus will be growing.
Fungus will grow. Bacteria you cannot see, fungus you can see, but bacteria will also grow. The same thing will happen in your lungs. So this obstruction in turn will cause more infection. Okay, if you're again understanding, initially it is starting with an infection. Okay, it can start either with an obstruction or an infection. Bronchiectasis is a condition in which the what you call, disease is progressing either from an obstruction or from an infection. Here we are showing from an infection. So an infective pathogen is coming in, it is causing inflammation, it is causing exudate to be formed, and that exudate is causing obstruction, it is causing blockage. Now whenever there is blockage, that area is getting blocked up from your normal supply of WBCs, inflammatory cells, and all of that, which will in turn cause more amount of infection, right? So this cycle continues. Now let's suppose it is starting from obstruction. When we go into causes of your what do you call, bronchiectasis, you will understand that it can also start from an obstruction. For example, let's suppose, here I'll draw it again so that you understand it a little better. Let's suppose I have a lung like this, right? Now in this lung, यहाँ पर let's suppose there is a tumor. Okay, let's suppose there is a tumor around here. This fellow is pushing on the bronchiole. Okay, it is present near the parenchyma and it is pushing on the bronchiole, basically causing an obstruction. Or there is what you call, a foreign body that is getting lodged inside. So children generally tend to uh, eat things inside. Sometimes what can happen is these foreign bodies can go into your respiratory system, and let's suppose that foreign body is blocking like this. Okay, it is blocking your bronchi, or because of compression of some other sort. In any case, what is happening is there is obstruction being created here to normal flow of air and to normal flow of your bronchi, which in turn will cause infection. Again the same reaction will occur. Infection hota, inflammation hota, exudate hota, obstruction hota. All right, ये first cycle समझ में आया क्या हो रहा? It is starting off with an
Yes, sir.
infection. There is an infective organism coming, it is causing inflammation, exudate will be formed, proteinaceous exudate, which will in turn get, if agar proteinaceous hai, matlab, you know, proteinaceous exudate can get coagulated very quickly, so that will cause obstruction. That obstruction leads to further infection and the cycle continues. Now what will happen is, oh sorry, one second. Right, now hold on, we left one part now. exudate formation. Right. Now this process will keep on occurring to a point where inflammation now will not just cause exudate to be formed, it will cause destruction of the bronchi, because there is a limit to which your bronchi can undergo inflammation. If you remember inflammation, if more and more inflammation occurs in a particular area, the surrounding cells of that area, now in general also whenever there is inflammation being occurred, वहां पर obviously there is some damage which triggered inflammation. Now infection आया हुआ था, there is cell damage which triggered inflammation. Now there is a limit to which your what do you call, your cells can regenerate. At one point what will happen is there will be more damage than repair, so inflammation will lead to destruction there, right? Inflammation will lead to destruction of bronchi and the surrounding cells. Basically, if your bronchi are destroyed, guess what will happen? They will get dilated. This is what is happening in bronchiectasis. समझ में आया क्या हो रहा? Or should I repeat once again? See, it is starting off with an infection in your lung, right? यहाँ पर pathogens are coming inside and they are causing inflammation. Step 1, right? First infective organism is coming, these red particles are coming in and they are causing infection into your bronchi and into your alveoli. There in the local region there will be inflammation. Whenever there is infection, obviously there will be inflammation. This inflammation will trigger, forget about this step for now, okay, forget about the right side for now. There will be exudate that is being formed. The nearby blood vessels will get dilated. You will have what you call proper inflammatory reaction, inflammatory mediators are released, and what you call mucus is being formed. All of that will happen and exudate is formed. That exudate in turn will block this bronchi. If I enlarge that same bronchi, let's suppose this is the bronchi, because of exudate being formed, okay, little by little more and more exudate will be formed, and ultimately what will happen is your bronchi or bronchus or bronchiole, they will get blocked, so that no more amount of oxygen, WBC, they cannot pass through clearly. Now because of this, what will happen, now let's suppose this continues into an acinus or into an alveolus, okay. Now what will happen here, there is no supply of what do you call oxygen anymore. There is no oxygen, there is no WBCs, nothing properly occurring here. So this is proper festering ground for your obstruction, what do you call, infection to occur. So this is the obstruction which will in turn lead to more infection, right? So the cycle keeps on continuing. Initially it started off with an infection, then inflammation, exudate formation, obstruction, then again it will cause infection. All right, whatever infective organisms were present here, they will start dividing like crazy, right? So what will happen is this whole area will get infected even more. This in turn will cause inflammation in this region. This cycle will keep on continuing till inflammation now will cause destruction of your bronchi. So this layer will get destroyed. All right. So you will not see something like this. You will see, let's suppose, destroyed bronchi, or the elasticity of the bronchi will decrease. So you will see your bronchi something like this. Hold on. Instead of drawing like this, I'll draw it like this. Right. So let's suppose for comparison, this was your normal bronchi. What will happen is because of destruction, your bronchi will dilate in various shapes and it will become loose. Okay. It will lose its proper turgidity. It will lose its elasticity for good. So it is irreparable now. Now what will happen whenever you are exhaling or you're inhaling, it will be very hard to exhale out. Right? It will become very hard to breathe in and breathe out in general. That is bronchiectasis. Now if this is happening in one bronchiole, it is fine. This bronchiectasis will occur or affect your whole lung. Okay, then it will be bad because it will be very, very hard to breathe in and breathe out. All right, this is the pathology of your bronchiectasis. I hope you understood this. Okay. कोई doubts है क्या हो रहा है इधर? Anyone? Any doubts?
Understood, sir.
पक्का पूरों को समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा ठीक
Yes,
है.
sir.
चलो. Now coming to causes, what are the causes of your what do you call bronchiectasis? Causes can be divided into three main categories. Okay, the first one will be your Number one will be hereditary causes. So इसके अंदर क्या आता? Hereditary causes, as the name suggests, that they are genetic and they hereditary and congenital. One second. Congenital, both. Right. So these are the causes that you cannot control, basically, right? They are problems in your chromosome. They might be some other error during pregnancy, anything that is causing hereditary or congenital problems, in turn leading to certain different conditions. See, one thing you have to remember about bronchiectasis is this is mostly a secondary complication, in the sense that the patient already has some disease. Okay, let's suppose they have asthma, or they have COPD, or they have some main problem. Other than that, they are having this as a secondary complication, a complication of the first condition. All right, that is what you call bronchiectasis mostly occurs in a secondary way rather than primary way. Rather than it starting off as a primary disease or primary condition, it will begin as a secondary condition. So the patient already susceptible with some kind of condition, they will develop bronchiectasis mostly. Right. One common thing is cystic fibrosis. Hereditary is cystic fibrosis. Now, what is cystic fibrosis? This generally occurs in Caucasians, okay, Americans and all. So, इसमें क्या हो रहा? There is a disorder in your endocrine gland. So, what will happen is excessive amount of mucus will be produced, and that mucus will stagnate in your bronchi. I'll not go too much into detail in your cystic fibrosis. So, basically, what is happening? Let's suppose this is your bronchi. Now, mucus is something that will be continuously produced. See, your respiratory system does produce mucus every time, because it needs to keep the vertical bronchi and bronchiole wet, so that vertical respiration occurs properly, and excessive amount is being reabsorbed inside, and whenever there is less amount, that mucus will be secreted, and it will be made sure that that mucus is pliable, in the sense that that mucus is vertical easy to handle. It is wet, it is not thick and viscous, and it is not hard to move around. It is nice and wet, so that it is non-viscous, basically, so that it is easy to breathe and easy to clear out whenever there is excessive mucus as well. Let's suppose the one dust particle goes in. If your mucus is very hard, it will be very hard for you to cough it out. If it is nice and thick, thin and watery, then you can cough it out easily. Right? If you generally see mucus that is coming, let's suppose you walk into a dust field or something like that, sometimes you will cough. Right? Especially people with dust allergy, they will cough a lot, but generally people will also cough, right, who does not have dust allergy as well. And when you're coughing, you will see phlegm or mucus that is coming out, which is slightly watery, right, easy to handle. Cystic fibrosis mein kya ho raha? This what do you call, mucus will become thick, it will become viscous, and because of a certain condition, it will become thick and viscous. And this viscous mucus, see, normally what will happen here in your bronchi, if you remember your तुम लोगों को हिस्टोलॉजी थी थोड़ी तभी. What is the lining of your normal lining of your bronchi and your parenchyma, lungs का? There will be one type of cell here, no? अच्छा, in your bronchi itself, what type of cells will be there? आप लोगों को types of cells पढ़ाए थे? क्या हुआ? पूरों का माइक्रोफोन खराब हो गया एक साथ या? अच्छा, I'll put you out of my misery. You will have pseudostratified ciliated epithelium, right? That is the lining of your bronchi. So you have a pseudostratified, meaning it's not truly stratified, ciliated epithelium, meaning you will have cilia here. Okay, let me draw that cilia in a different way. Here the most important part is your cilia. Why? Because whenever you have this what do you call, mucus being produced, let's suppose this is the cilia. Let me erase this fellow. Right, whenever there is this cilia, what the cilia will do is, if mucus is being produced, it will push the mucus out. So it will push the, let's suppose it is going out in that direction towards your nose, it will go out of your lungs. Basically, that is the function of your cilia. Whatever particle, foreign body is being trapped in your mucus, dust particle, pathogen, anything that is getting trapped in your mucus, and mucus is being produced, if it is nice and pliable, this cilia can easily push out that mucus right outside to you, outside towards your upper respiratory tract, and so that you can expectorate it out. Now here what is happening is this mucus is becoming very thick. So let's make it a little bit thick. Let's suppose this is thick mucus. If this mucus is extremely thick, your cilia will not be able to push them out. That is what is happening in cystic fibrosis. All right. Because of thick mucus being produced here, this fellow is not able to what you call come out of your bronchi, in turn causing blockage. This blockage will ultimately lead to bronchiectasis. All right. I hope ये reason समझ में आया कैसा हो रहा cystic fibrosis से. सिस्टिक फाइब्रोसिस में म्यूकस प्रोड्यूस हो रहा, ठीक है, म्यूकस थिक म्यूकस प्रोड्यूस हो रहा स्पेसिफिकली, इट इज नॉट प्लायबल, राइट, इट इज नॉट वाटरी. दिस थिक म्यूकस will block your bronchi and bronchioles, ultimately causing vertical bronchiectasis, right? Now another condition will be immotile ciliary syndrome. This is also hereditary. So immotile ciliary syndrome, इसको कार्टिजिनस syndrome भी बोलते हैं. Cartigenous syndrome. So what is this? Now I just told you cilia play a very important role in pushing your mucus out. In immotile ciliary syndrome, the problem is not of mucus, the problem is of your cilia. Immotile ciliary syndrome refers to a condition in which your cilia are not able to move properly. If your cilia is not able to move properly, see, your cilia will move like a wave. Okay, they will have a wavy motion. So they will literally move like this. Okay, so they will move in this direction. Okay, front and back, they will have a wavy motion. Okay, oscillating type. So not exactly oscillating, wave type of motion. So यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, this fellow is becoming stiff. It is not able to move. Because it is not able to move, it will not be able to push even normal amount of mucus being produced. See, normally whenever there is any pathogen or in any condition, there will be a little bit of mucus that is produced in your respiratory system, in your tracheobronchial tract, okay, in your tracheobronchial tree. If even that normal amount of mucus is not able to come out over the period of a few weeks or days or months or years, what will happen is mucus will start accumulating, and because the cilia is not able to move properly, it will start blocking that bronchi. Even though it is pliable, you have nothing that is what you call pushing it out. Even though you have cough reflex, there is a limit to how much you can cough, right? This cilia is, if it is working properly, it will be able to push that mucus out. Here the cilia is not working properly because it is immotile. Because it is immotile, this fellow will cause blockage here, ultimately leading to bronchiectasis. All right, I hope you understood the reasoning behind this. Right, if you have any doubts, please feel free to stop me at any time. Right, third condition or second complication, let's say, ये एक hereditary के लिए बस है. Second complication, second way it can occur is obstruction. So there is direct obstruction. This can also be a cause of bronchiectasis. How? Now let's suppose there is a foreign body that is coming into your system and you are not able to cough it out because of whatever reason. This foreign body is reaching all the way up to your bronchi. It can be small, that obviously if it is reaching up to your bronchi, it is very small, but it is going to up to your bronchi and blocking. So let's suppose this is your bronchi and one small object. Let's suppose an object, will make it blue. There is a small object like this that is coming and blocking your bronchi either completely or partially. All right, this will ultimately lead to obstruction again. If you remember that flowchart which we just drew, that obstruction ultimately again will lead to infection here. So in this whole area, from this blockage up to yahan se niche pura, all of this will get obstructed, leading to infection in turn. This is one way. Or another way, let's suppose, we'll come back to our this thing. There is a, let's suppose there is a tumor here. Okay, let's suppose there is a tumor here. All right, cancerous tumor. This tumor is blocking it. Okay, that tumor can block and ultimately lead to bronchiectasis again. Or there is a nearby lymph node. Okay, I'll do it in a different way. Let's suppose this is, let's suppose this is the lymph node, this is getting inflamed, and this is starting to push on the surface of that bronchi, push to the extent that now this bronchi will start looking like this. So your bronchi was initially, okay, I'll draw it like this. Let's suppose this was your normal bronchi and this was your normal lymph node around your bronchi. What is happening is when that lymph node is enlarging to an extent that is causing blockage, what is happening is this fellow, oh sorry, this fellow will start looking like this. So because of enlargement, if you can see this again, this is also causing obstruction and blockage. Okay. In all of these conditions, here I'm leaving a little bit of space, but it can be like this as well. One second. So imagine this way, it is completely blocking the bronchi. In either case, what is happening is here the primary condition is a tumor, or it is lymphadenitis, or it is sometimes scarring can also lead to obstruction. In all of these conditions, the what you call cycle is starting through obstruction, which will lead to what you call your infection later on. All right, this is the second way. The third way, less common but can happen, is as a secondary complication to infection. How? So this will include your necrotizing pneumonias. You will study about pneumonia in the next chapter. Immediately after this, I'll do pneumonia. So pneumonias, and if someone has tuberculosis, right, in both of these conditions the patient can develop bronchiectasis, because these necrotizing pneumonia or TB will in turn cause inflammation there, right? If there is already an infection like TB or necrotizing pneumonia, it will cause profound inflammation there. If there is extensive inflammation in that area, obviously you will have obstruction at one point of time, again leading to bronchiectasis. So these are the causes that will lead to bronchiectasis, some of the causes that will lead to bronchiectasis. Okay, did you guys understand this? Should I repeat any particular part, or is everything understood and are you fine with it?
Yeah, sir, understood.
पक्का पूरा को समझ में आ गया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, whenever there is a patient who has bronchiectasis, what will happen is their lung will develop. Another thing, the disease generally affects distal bronchi more than it will generally affect distal bronchi more, distal bronchi and bronchioles more, and this sometimes can be diffuse and segmental. So it might affect certain segments. So if you know your what do you call, lung has different segments, right? Your right lung will have 3 segments. Your right lung will look something like this, and your left lung will have 2 segments, right? Let's suppose, even though this is a horrible drawing of your lung, let's suppose like this. Okay, your left lung will have 2 lobes and your right lung will have 3 lobes. This fellow will generally tend to affect your middle one and the lower one more than upper one. Sometimes it can also be diffuse, wherein the whole lung itself is affected unilaterally or bilaterally, meaning both the lungs can get affected or a single lung can get affected, depending on where it is starting from and the progression from it, if you are not able to do anything against it. Another thing that will happen is the lung will assume a honeycomb like appearance. I'll show you how it looks like. One second. So your lung will start looking like this. A person's lung with bronchiectasis, extensive damage, okay? So this person has had a bronchiectasis for a long period of time. For them, the lung will start looking like this. If you can see, there'll be a lot of cavities and gaps. The bronchioles are damaged. You are seeing what you call proper areas of necrotizing inflammation, all of that. Right? This will happen to the lung. Right? I hope you guys can see this. Right. Now, this is one thing that is happening. Now, coming to clinical features, what will happen is, obviously the patient will have a lot of cough, right? Because of their bronchi being blocked off, they will have a lot of cough, and because there is infection, pus will come into picture. A lot of pus is being formed, and whenever they are coughing, it will be smelly cough. The sputum will be very smelly. Okay, they have foul smelling sputum, and they'll cough a lot, almost like half a cup worth, half a cup, 1 cup utta khaste. Okay, they'll cough a lot. They will have hemoptysis sometimes. So if blood vessels are getting damaged, nearby blood vessels are getting damaged, which obviously they will, blood will start spilling in your inflammatory region as well. You will see RBCs and all coming into picture. So your cough or sputum will have a little bit of reddish tinge to it. Hemoptysis, it will have blood literally. Right, and recurrent pneumonias will occur in this, because it is a nice festering ground for what do you call, bacteria to. Pneumonia is basically any acute inflammation of your lung. Okay, generally occurring due to infection, but any inflammation of your lung will be categorized as pneumonia. So recurrent pneumonias will occur in this. The patient can have sinusitis, specifically when there is diffuse bronchiectasis, meaning the whole lung is getting affected. Then the patient will have sinusitis. Some late complications will be clubbing of fingers. So the fingers will get clubbed. Clubbing of fingers is basically, if you imagine the nail, let's suppose the nail is like this. This is the finger. Your clubbing of, if you can understand, this is the tip of your finger and that is the nail. What will happen is, in clubbing, the nail will literally bend like this. Okay, and here is your finger. As a bend ho jata. So all of your fingers will bend like that. Okay, I'll show you one image of clubbing of. I had one. 1 second. What the hell? 1 second. This is clubbing of fingers. So this is a late complication. If the disease progresses for a long period of time, for a couple of years, then the patient's fingers will start looking like this. They will bend literally. All right. Other than that, the patient will also have metastatic abscesses. So these abscesses will suppurative, obviously, will go all the way up to your brain as well. Sometimes the patient can also develop cor pulmonale. Cor pulmonale is a condition in which, because of, now see, because of this extensive damage in your lung, normally lung ka function kya hai? Whenever there is deoxygenated blood coming into picture, that fellow, your lung will oxygenate that blood and send it back to your what do you call, left atrium, right? That is what your lung will do. It will obviously take in, it will help in inhalation and exhalation, but one important function is oxygenating deoxygenated blood. Now, if there is already a lot of damage and inflammation occurring in your lung, there will be a lot of pressure that is put on your on the blood vessels, especially your pulmonary veins. What will happen is, because this pressure is being exerted on your pulmonary veins, this will in turn cause pressure in your right ventricle. राइट वेंट्रिकल में प्रेशर अगर बिल्डअप हुआ तो your right ventricle will not be able to pump blood completely, so it will cause a type of heart failure in your right lung. Okay, your your right ventricle, your right ventricle will not be able to completely contract, and it will not be able to go into systole completely. That is your cor pulmonale. Once we come to what you call cardiology, I'll explain in more detail, but that is cor pulmonale, right heart failure बोलते हैं उसको. Sometimes a late complication can also be amyloidosis. All right. So that completes our bronchiectasis. I hope you guys understood it. Like 5 people.
Yes, sir.
आज कुछ स्पेशल है?
Sir.
5 लोग आए.
Sir,
क्या बोलो?
वो जो lungs का part होता है ना, why only middle and lower parts are getting more effect
Why
than
only?
the proximal?
Why only middle and lower lobe is
Lower
getting?
part, yes, yeah.
उसका exactly पिन पॉइंट रीजन नहीं है याजिक. इट जनरली if you see 100 patients, out of 100 patients, most of them will have what you call segmental. It is not lower or middle, ऐसा बोल के नहीं है. It is segmental, so it will affect one particular lobe or one particular segment of the lung. मतलब top segment में हो रहा, या middle segment में हो रहा, या lower segment में हो रहा, या left lung के top में हो रहा, या lower में हो रहा. अगर diffuse type है, meaning it will diffuse all over, meaning it will go all over the lung. So you will find these two types. It is not particularly कि ये particular lobe में हो रहा, ठीक है? It will happen in one segment. ठीक है? I hope that answers your doubt.
Yes, sir.
चलो ठीक है फिर. See you on Monday then. Bye bye.